What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moxie Bets presented by Caesars Sportsbook. I'm your host, Katie Mox. Coming up on today's show, the MLB is off and running. We've got early impressions of the new rules after opening weekend, plus the NCAA Championship Game is tonight between UConn and those San Diego State Aztecs. Best bets from Danny Brasco and I are on the way, and then you know it. You've got some Mox Locks coming your way. All right, let's welcome in Mr. Monday, Danny Brasco. Danny, how are we feeling? Happy NCAA title game night.
Yeah, good to be back. I haven't seen you in a while, Katie. It's been a little mismatch of the schedule. I'm here for the big natty. I couldn't be more excited about it. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so before we get into the natty, let's talk MLB because I know you're a big baseball guy. So the opening weekend has come and gone, 4 days into the season already. It's a long, long season. And so we've seen these rule changes, right? That, yeah, they were tested out a little bit in spring training. I want to know what your early thoughts are so far. I did go to the Yankees and Giants game yesterday. Wish I would have gone on Saturday when the Giants actually won because even though I am a kind of a quasi Yankees fan, I still always root for Bay Area teams over anybody else. And I have to say, when we sat down, I was sitting in the bleachers, we sat down, there were like 3 home runs, almost back to back to back. No real base hits or any other runs coming in besides these like single dingers. So while it's exciting, and I know that it is the Yankees and it is kind of a home run friendly park, but I don't know, a lot of home runs and not a whole lot of anything else. What do you think?
I was going to say, I think maybe that's just more Yankees baseball where like the classic 3-result team, walk, strikeout, or home run. However, I was like, I'm a baseball purist. It's my first sport. It's my, what I grew up on and what I played. And I was one of the main, how do I say it, people against the rule changes. I thought it would compromise the integrity of the game. I thought it would change the pace of play. I thought it would take away from these little tactical edges that I love about the chess match that is baseball. And I'm not budging quite yet because I am still an old guard type of fan. However, they're starting to win me over a little bit, Katie. I never thought I would say that. Games ending in 2.5 hours is nice. I mean, I'm not against a long game, but a 4.5-hour baseball game will ruin your schedule. Exactly. Like that's it. That's your day. You can actually go to a game and then go out with your friends later. Have a day.
I would agree because they started playing the New York song. I was like, wait, the game is already over. It's only been 2.5 hours, and it is kind of fun to watch the pitch clock, to see how fast they can get it out. But yeah, I agree. But how does it affect your betting?
I've actually immediately looked towards overs a little bit more. And my initial instinct was thinking that, well, if the pitchers are on a clock and they're rushed and they lose their ability to pick off and a lot of things that hold runners and hitters at bay, if they're losing the ability to do certain the defensive shift, I think offense is going to be up this season. So I'm going to look at certain spots where I feel like there's favorable matchups, a lot of hit-friendly, base-running-friendly teams that can move around on the base paths and find creative ways to score. I'll be looking at more overs this year than unders. As you know, I love me some unders. So that'll sort of be my my theme, looking for more offense in certain spots. And I think it's good for the game. Fans want to see more action on the bases, more guys around and, diving catches and slides at the plate. Like, it'll be good. They got to keep up with the NFL and the NBA and the UFC at this point. So it was a necessary change, but we're going down kicking and screaming against it. They're starting to win me over a little. We shall see. TBD.
Yeah, the 2.5 hour is just a game changer because you could be a baseball game for like 4 or 5 hours. At that point, you're just tapped out. How do we feel? I mean, they've only faced the lowly Giants here, but how are we feeling about the Yankees this year just after opening weekend?
I feel good. I mean, I'm most excited about the potential of our pitching rotation. Our lineup looks monstrous, and that's always the case for the Yankees. So if we can do more than just hit home runs and strike out, if we can move the lineup over and keep it going, I think we're going to be a really, really dangerous team this year. So it really comes down to the health of the starting pitching, which it always does for the Yanks. But prospects look good. Once again, we'll see how it holds together throughout the course of the year.
And Aaron Judge already has 2 home runs, right? Or does he have 3? But I mean, it looks like he's doing good for leading home runs again this year. The fact that he's already had a couple just in opening weekend.
He didn't miss a beat. First at bat of the season as Yankee captain, yard instantly. I was just like, I love this guy so much. I'm so happy.
And he could have been a Giant. All right. We're going to take a quick break here before we get into Capper's Corner. You're watching Moxie Bets. We'll be right back. Caesars Sportsbook, it's not just an app, it's a whole empire. Iconic casinos, hotels, world-class restaurants. It's all yours with Caesars Rewards. Because every bet you place, win or lose, earns reward credits, which you can redeem for hotel stays at over 50 destinations, meals, tickets, merch, bonuses, and more. Get started today. Create an account with promo code OMAHA Welcome back to Moxie Bets. Time now for Capper's Corner. We'll welcome back in Danny Brasco, and we're talking NCAA Championship Game. That is tonight between the number 4 UConn and number 5 San Diego State. Rematch of the 2021 Sweet 16 game where UConn bounced out the Aztecs 74-67. Now, Danny, this is the first time that a number 4 seed and a number 5 seed have met in a title game. And the last time, it's the first time since 1996. The last one was Syracuse and Mississippi. SDSU will also be the first number 5 seed to potentially win the national championship. Unfortunately, 5 seeds are 0-3 in total appearances so far. San Diego State on the money line plus 275. UConn minus 350. Gotta lay the lumber with them. If you had to look at a money line bet, what are you looking at here?
Obviously, I'm not interested in laying minus 300 in a national
No.
championship game. You're not making any money betting lines like that, and it's just not that much fun, right? And also, I don't have, $300,000 to put up on that money line to make it worth my while, right? So,
Right.
look, I don't want to give out UConn minus 300, but I do think they win this
They
game. I
win.
just simply think they're the better
Yeah.
team. It's not a bet I would take. I wouldn't even put it in a parlay necessarily, but I simply think that UConn has more weapons and more ways to win this game. And I know your heart is with the Aztecs, so I'm sure you'll make the case for them. But I got the Huskies winning this one. What say you, Katie?
Yeah, look, it's the same thing. Do I think that UConn is gonna win this game? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think in the last few weeks we've given out who's gonna win the whole thing. I've been saying UConn, so I'm not gonna change my tune there. But these Aztecs, they are frisky and they will not die. Their Elite Eight and their Final Four games were won by a single point. They did not lead at all in the second half of the Final Four game versus FAU, and then they won at the buzzer beater. They're like the only team I think that's done that. That's had the last 2 games in the Elite Eight and the Final Four be decided by just 1 point. So I mean, San Diego State plus 300 isn't a bad bet considering their last 2 games have been decided in the final 2 seconds and winning by 1 point. So, yes. Now, if I had to take a UConn bet, I might go UConn first half, slightly better value, minus 225. Still not a great thing to do because you look at these Aztecs, they've erased halftime deficits in both of their Elite Eight and Final Four games behind very strong defensive performances. Creighton's field goal percentage dropped from 54% in the first half down to just 28% in the second half. FAU 54 down to 38. So what San Diego State does in this second half with their defense, they really clamp down on these guys. It becomes a very close game. So again, plus 300, I don't think is an actual bad bet, but yeah, I agree with you. How likely is it that UConn wins this game? Very, very likely. But again, I'm willing to do the first half, the money line just based on these second half splits here.
Yeah, I think you make a great case too, because San Diego's best sort of their calling card of their identity this whole tournament is that they can take a punch and they can respond right
Yes.
back. That's been the case the way you laid it out. They go down in the first half, they look overmatched. In the second half, they just wear on you. These kids are some dogs, and eventually you're looking at a 1 possession game. They got the ball, last in the game, and they're making a clutch shot. So they're never out of it. And if I was going to look at playing a money line in this, yeah, I'd lean towards UConn first half, better value, like you said, or take your shot on SDSU at that line.
I tried to parlay the first half UConn with San Diego State full game, and Caesars wouldn't let me do it. But I thought that was kind of maybe a fun one to go. But all right, so now let's look at the spread. This one's interesting. So it's 7 right now. It opened as 5-point favorite, but then UConn was very quickly bet up to 7.5. It settled right now on 7. There have only been 5 underdogs of 7+ points in a national title game, and none since, you guessed it, UConn in 1999 versus Duke. They were 9.5-point dogs. I'm, of course, going to lean San Diego State here plus the 7.5. I think that they could possibly win this game. And so to give them 7 points, to me, feels like the bet here. But what are you thinking on the spread?
Yeah, it's a wide spread, right? So if you think it's going to be a classic March Madness type game, why wouldn't I take 7.5 points? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But like you said, it opened at 5. Sharps moved it up to 7.5, right? That line move. That's a heavy line move. That's like a whole possession, 2.5 points. And the line is quite telling to me, Katie. I'm just looking at it like San Diego State, like you said, there's some dogs. They're in every game. I'm thinking, when were they last a 7.5 point underdog? Turns out last time they were this big of a dog, 2020 against Michigan, and they lost that game by 14. That's the last time in any game they were this big of a
Yeah.
dog. So I don't know. I think the line is quite telling. And the fact that it moved up so much from 5, I lean UConn minus the 7.5. I don't want to lay all those points, but the way the line has moved and the nature of it, I mean, SDSU is never this big of a dog. I think it's saying something. So a lot of people will probably side with them too. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a public underdog and UConn maybe put the beat on them a little bit.
Yeah, I was looking at where the money is this morning. It does seem like there has been a lot of sharp action on laying those points with UConn. But again, like if I'm thinking that possibly they can win this game, then to get 7 points to me feels like something I should be doing. So I'm gonna do both those. I'm doing SDSU money line, and then I'm also going to give them the points there. So let's look at the spread. Excuse me, the total now. Similarly to the spread. The opening total started at 135.5, and that was quickly bet down to 131.5. Some books even as low as 130. Right now, 132.5. You leaning over or under this?
So, surprise to many, I'm actually leaning the over. I think a lot of people are going to,
Whoa!
yeah, I know, I'm unders all day, but I can't do it in this game simply because I think the number's set a little bit too low for the nature of the game. And everyone and
Mm,
their mother knows how good SDSU is on defense. That's what
yeah,
they do. So I wouldn't be surprised if this under got a lot of public money. And that's the only time I'll flip sides. If I'm looking at totals, I'm hunting unders, but I only flip sides when I think everyone's going to bet the unders. So with,
yeah.
the way that UConn has been so efficient and been able to rely on so many different players to facilitate, I think, of course, SDSU thwarts everyone a little bit, but UConn still has success offensively. And UConn actually fouls a good deal. SDSU plays inside. They play hard. I think they'll be at the charity stripe a lot, and that could rack up some points with no time off the clock. So 132.5, just think it's a shade low. I could see it ending around 135. It probably will be within a few points, but I lean the over, and I'll take that.
All right, Danny, I hear what you're saying, but I actually think that people are going to like the over in this one, depending on how the last game went. I think that people thought San Diego was really going to clamp down in the first half. They allowed a lot of points to FAU, and we do know they were able to slow down like Alabama to 20 points below their season average. They held Creighton to just 56. They're third in the country in 3-point defense at 28.1%. But the Owls in the first half, they went 5 of 11. They were able to score 40 points just in the first half. San Diego State is going to have to clamp down on that. They can't allow UConn to score that much in the first half. So I kind of just think that it's going to regress more towards the mean. I think San Diego State is going to have to be very strong defensively in this first half. And of course, we know that UConn has allowed 65 or fewer points in all of the NCAA games this year. So we're on opposite sides of everything today. So let the best man or woman or team or school win on this one. Let's look at some player props. Hopefully we have some more synergy here. We start with UConn. What are some Huskies that you like, over or unders?
Yeah, so I'm looking at some plus money player props here. I like a lot of options here. First off is Andre Jackson, their guard facilitator. I mean, this guy is the reason they look so efficient game in and game out. And I really love the way he moves the ball around the floor. We've seen him go over this number of 5.5 assists a number of times in the tournaments, typically getting around 7. And I think you got to move the ball against SDSU. I mean, they play such good on-ball defense that it's going to be about the pick and roll. It's going to be about getting guys to switch. And Andre Jackson's great at that. So I'll take his over 5.5 assists at plus money here. What do I got? A little plus 106 action or something like that? Plus 114.
Ooh.
What am I talking about? So yeah, I like Andre to get it done for the Huskies today.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to take their, top guy, Adama Sanogo. Is that how you pronounce his name?
No go, yeah.
Sanogo. Okay, Adama Sanogo over 15.5 points. It's at minus 139, so it's like slightly juicy. It's not your plus 114. He's the favorite to win the tournament's most outstanding player award. He's also just the 7th player since 1950 to average 20 plus points per game in an NCAA tournament entering the game. I think if he gets plus 20 over in the final game, then he becomes like the 5th player to ever do that. So my money's on the big guy, the best guy to have a really, really good game. I'm also looking at Jordan Hawkins over 2.5 made threes. I know that's something that you like a lot too. He's hit 3+ threes in all 5 tournament games so far. It's the 3rd most of all time. So look for Jordan Hawkins to stay hot.
Yeah, you said it. I like both those picks. Sanogo is an absolute monster, and Jordan Hawkins over threes is also my play here. I mean, you saw, like you said, against FAU, those guys were getting clean looks despite how good SDSU is against the 3-point ball. I mean, Elijah Martin and all their guys were getting like very clean looks. So I think if they can do that, so can Jordan Hawkins. And there's no way that he's going to play in a national championship game and not chuck up at least 5+3s. So if a great shooter is getting him up, he plays well in the limelight. I'm going to bet on him to make a few of them. I like this bet.
All right, moving on to the San Diego State Aztecs. What is a player prop that you are looking for my favorite team?
Yeah, so one of my favorite players on the Aztecs is Jadon Ledee, and I just love the way he plays. He's so scrappy, so gritty. He's a forward for this team, and he follows his shot every time. He's down there banging bodies with guys that are a lot bigger than him and still somehow scrapping out the rebounds. Like, these are my favorite kind of players, just guys that just don't care and will play harder than you and want the ball more than you. So to that point, I'm taking his over 5.5 rebounds. I get plus 106 for all the reasons I said. He'll be down low, fighting for the boards, and he's going to play for my money whether he hits or not. So I'll take his over and think he can get a few on the glass for me.
I love that. I only have one player prop. I'm looking at Matt Bradley over 12.5 points. Is at minus 133. So he was a bit slow to start the tournament, averaging only 8.8 points per game within the first 4 games. And then he dropped 41 against FAU in the final 4. Bradley is the Aztecs' leading scorer this season, averaging 12.7 points per game. If SDSU can pull off this upset, which I need them to do, then obviously they're going to need Bradley to go off and have a big game. So I'm going to take him over this 12.5 points. What's another prop that you like?
Yeah, he's their guy. They're going to need a big effort from him to put up enough score and keep with the Huskies. So I do like that. I'm going to go with Darian Trammell, who's a point guard and lead ball handler for SDSU. Again, this guy's just a dog. Like, I want to bet on guys that I know are going to give maximum effort and play fearlessly. That's how I feel about Ledee crashing the boards for rebounds. And that's how I feel about Trammell when he drives to the rim and just goes in at huge guys, getting to the line, getting fouled by 7-foot monsters. Kid does not care. So I noticed in his game log, in big spots, he does take a lot of shots. He didn't really do that last game. So I'm looking for him to really assert himself in this game and be a leading scorer for SDSU, who, again, needs to put points in the basket to stay with the Huskies. So give me Trammell over 9.5 points.
I love that. I'm going to ride with you on that one. Is there anything else that you're looking at for this game? Any maybe team bets, prop bets, any other prop bets? What are you thinking?
Yeah, there's a bunch of like player performance doubles that you can look at. I like that. You bet on a player prop matched with the team that wins. So if I like UConn to win, maybe you can look at Sonogo points or rebounds plus UConn win. What I did was I combined my Andre Jackson bet. I think he'll be facilitating and get over 5.5 assists. So I did Andre Jackson 6+ assists and UConn win. Now I've taken a player prop I like and gotten UConn money line way down. And all of a sudden I'm at a plus 163 play for 2 things I think will happen. So I like that bet.
I like that too. I was also, I haven't fired on this quite yet, but I'm teetering between taking San Diego State over their team total. I believe it's at 61.5. If I think, again, that San Diego State could win this game, then I might as well take them over their team total. All right, now time for Mox Locks. My 2 bets, Dan, you already know what it is. SDSU plus the 7, SDSU money line, and that under 132.5. What are your locks?
Wow, we are at odds here. I'm going with the over 132.5. I think the free throws at the end are the difference. And I'm going to go with our guy. Yeah. We're in lockstep here. Jordan Hawkins is sinking some threes tonight. I'll bet on the big player to make the big play. So give me Jordan Hawkins over 2.5 3-pointers.
Man, the thing is that obviously, guys, take what I say with a grain of salt. My heart is totally in this. I have a friend who is a coach. I'm so stoked. But I also think that this team won't die, and they've been kind of undervalued this whole time. And UConn is a bunch of dogs. I mean, obviously they are the dogs. They're Huskies, but they are the best team on paper, no doubt. But these Aztecs just will not die. So I am hopeful, but either way, I'm so proud of how far they have come. Danny, thank you so much, as always, for your time. This has been Moxie Bets, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Don't forget to follow us on social at Moxie Bets. Oh, and by the way, tonight will be decided who wins the Moxie Bets Bracket Challenge. I cannot wait to see who it is and have you as a guest on this show. Good luck. May the odds ever be ever in your favor. That's what it is. There you go. Bye.